What's up, y'all? Sorry about that. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you be, good evening. Um, Thank you for coming through. Listen to me talk this shit. Listen to me act like I know what I'm talking about, but I really don't. So we had the end of fight camp. We had Buatsi versus Bival. Then we had Virgil Ortiz versus Kavliauskas. Both of these are young, I guess, prospects still in their respective promotions. Ortiz with Golden Boy and Joshua Buatsi with Matchroom. And from what we've heard, these two are being lined up for the champs in their divisions. Just give me a second, guys. Just trying to get some shit cleaned up here. Yeah, I know I'm at my job, so right. Sorry about that. So Joshua Buatsi with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, and Golden Boy Oscar De La Hoya, and these two are being lined up to move forward at some point to fight the champions, of which they are number one or maybe number two with in their division. You got Virgil Ortiz being lined up to fight Terrence Crawford. He's been lined up to fight Terrence Crawford since maybe the Maurice Hooker fight, right? And back then people were saying, "Oh, he not ready." Terrence Crawford also said he not ready, he not this, he not that. Then you got Joshua Buatsi, who is being lined up to fight Dimitri Bivol, and it's been that way. It's been obvious that was a plan for a while because Buatsi put himself pretty much only in the WBA rankings, and he's now number 2 in the WBA rankings. He just beat number 4, I think, or number 3 in the WBA rankings. And both of these guys know, I think Virgil Ortiz might be number 2 in WBO. So these two are being pushed into fighting the champions. I don't know. For some people, they're saying it's too soon. I don't know. I mean, you look at both fighters, Virgil Ortiz and Joshua Buatsi, and both guys obviously have their flaws. What's up, Tahaka? Both guys obviously have their flaws, but so do the champions, right? So to me, it's very similar in both aspects. So both prospects, Virgil and Joshua, are come forward guys. Both guys have had tough fights. They haven't looked perfect. What's up, Ahab's in the house? They haven't looked perfect. But neither has Terrence Crawford or Dimitri Bivol. Terrence Crawford had a rough time with Kavliauskas too. He got dropped by Kavliauskas. Bivol had a tough time with Craig Richards. And yeah, Joshua Buatsi can be hit. He's there to be hit. He's a come forward guy, flat footed. He's not a guy who's gonna bounce around and do what's up, Black. He's not a guy who's gonna bounce around or hide from you. You know where he's gonna be. Same with Virgil Ortiz. These guys are not guys who are gonna hide from you. They're there to fight. They're gonna come forward and try and walk you down. So we have two prospects that are similar in the way they fight, and you have two champions who have not had any breakout fights. So Terence Crawford has not had any big breakout fights. He's highly skilled and highly regarded. Same for Dimitri Bivol, highly skilled, highly regarded. But neither of the two champions have had no breakout fights. Crawford, there's no unifications on the horizons for him. Bivol, same for him, because all of their rival champions are on another promotional company. Crawford is waiting around for the PBC guys to challenge him, and hopefully he gets one of them, but he's not going to get Errol Spence, and he's not going to get Ugas, because Ugas is going to fight Manny Pacquiao. Bivol is not going to get Joe Smith. He already beat Joe Smith when Joe Smith was not a champion, and he's not going to get Beterbiev. I'm not quite sure what Top Rank is doing with Joe Smith and Beterbiev, because there isn't even any talks of them two unifying. Instead, you hear Joe Smith wants to go fight Danny Jacobs. And Beterbiev, he just fought Adam Dienis in Russia, which nobody even talked about. Beterbiev is like 36 or something. And he's a 2-belt holder. I think he has the IBF and the WBC. And you don't even know what these two are doing. So on Top Rank, they have 3 belts and they're not unifying them. They're also not going to fight Dimitri Bivol and Matchroom. So Bivol is in almost the same boat as Crawford, where there's no breakout fights available for him at his division, because let's face it, Dimitri Bivol has beaten all the guys who's worth a damn under his level. Beat Joe Smith already, who's no champion. Sullivan Barrera, when Sullivan Barrera had something left in him. Beat John Pascal, who might have been juicing. All these dudes, Bivol already pieced them up. So the only thing left for Dimitri Bivol is a big unification or a big fight somewhere else, which is why he kept saying, if you remember, Dimitri Bivol kept saying he would come down to 168 to fight Callum Smith. He would come down to 168 to fight Canelo, because he knows that he needs a big fight. He needs something in his career. So now you have 2 young prospects coming up who are coming off 2, in my opinion, impressive stoppages. Virgil had his rough time with Kavliauskas, and Buatsi fought a guy, Balatniks, who would not stop. Like, he had to knock Balatniks out. He had to knock him out. And that's a good thing. You know what I mean? We can critique these 2 guys, but the facts of the matter is nobody gonna be perfect. So my question to y'all is this too soon for Joshua Buatsi? Is this too soon for Virgil Ortiz? Because like I said, both Virgil and Joshua have the same maybe issues where they get hit, they're there to be hit, but they come forward, they have power. So, but the champions also get hit too. They're not perfect neither. Bivol was getting roughed up a bit by Craig Richards, even though he was winning the fight. We've seen Terence Crawford get drawn into fights, get drawn into some sticky situations. Like before he stopped Kell Brook was boxing him up. Kavliauskas gave him a tough fight. So none of these 4 is perfect. And I'm just asking y'all, what do y'all think about the situation? Is it too soon? Is it just the right time? Terence Crawford don't have nothing else to do. What's he going to do? You're going to sit around, waiting around. I realize Terence Crawford keeps saying Virgil Ortiz is not ready. Well, you know what, Terence Crawford? You don't have no other choices right now. You don't have a lot happening right now, bro. You need a big fight, a big event. And if you fight Virgil Ortiz, that's exactly what you're going to get. A big fight, a big event. Dimitri Bivol. No, he's a quiet guy. He doesn't really talk a lot of shit. Or, maybe he will talk shit in his own language. But he also There's no unifications available for Dimitri Bivol, and he needs a big fight. So what should happen? Should Golden Boy scale back Virgil Ortiz? Because Virgil Ortiz is going to be who he is. He's going to be who he is. Every time we've seen Virgil fight, he's been this guy. Come forward. He's going to take punches, but he's going to come. Joshua Buatsi, same thing. Come forward. He's going to take his punches, but he's coming. You don't have to hide from these guys. You don't have to go look for no Joshua Buatsi. You don't have to go look for Virgil Ortiz. Yo, let me open up the panel early. Let me open up early. What up? What up, everybody? If you want to get on, please remember to be respectful of everybody. I don't want no shit in here. Oh, who's that? D? What up, D? John Dealey in the house? Speak Your Mind Sports Talk. What up, man? Pin message. So the question is, are we going to sit here and be like, oh, these two need a lot more seasoning? But it's also interesting to see how these two prospects are being pushed into championship fights after like 15 fights or whatever. But you have other people who are so-called stars who are much older than these guys or a little bit younger, but them dudes are not ready. Ryan Garcia fought eliminated to fight Devin Haney. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want that. What's up, John Dealey? How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. We're not going to agree today, Kong, I don't think.
On what?
I don't think either of them should be put in with those two champions at this stage.
Well, this isn't about you agreeing with me. I'm just asking a question. That's it. I'm just asking a question. Go ahead, John.
Hello?
Is John gone? Hey. Is John gone? Ah, shit. What's up, Red Glove?
Hey, how's it going, Mr. Kong?
I'm all right. John Dealey, you there?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear
we
me?
can hear you now.
Yeah, we hear you, John.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
For me, personally, I think buatsi will get demolished by Bivol. And pretty much the same thing with Ortiz. You can't go into fights like that with zero defense. And I don't think either of them have got the right trainers to teach them how to defend themselves. Also, Buatsi in particular, he's got a lot of unfinished business at a domestic level. Like a lot. And he's like 15 fights in. Very, very, very few people can become world champion at that stage in their careers. And to be frank, if Charles Martin hadn't have won a world title, I don't think we would have seen AJ becoming world champion at that stage in his career.
I got you. Red Glove.
Yeah, Mr. Collins, you want my take on this whole thing with these guys taking on these fights? I'm a bit of a boxing evolutionist, survival of the fittest, and I think I just like if Bud Crawford can't get any of these guys from the PBC to fight him, then he might as well just go ahead and fight Ortiz. Like you said, that's going to give him a big event, the kind of event that he needs. And I agree. And same thing with Buatsi, go ahead and challenge for those titles, because what I mean by survival of the fittest is even if they lose, are they going to do like Keith Thurman and go start playing the flute, disappear for a couple years? Or are they going to get back in the ring, hop back on the saddle and show us how they bounce back from a loss? And if they win, then they win. They get a title and they they beat a top guy in their division. So to me, I that's what I mean by a boxing evolutionist. I want to see these guys test themselves, and if they lose, how are they going to react to the loss? Are they going to show us that they mentally has what it takes to be a top guy in the sport, or are they going to fold like we see a lot of these other guys do and disappear and take a couple year vacation?
The thing is with Buatsi, Red, we don't even know he's the best light heavyweight in the UK. Like, it's not like he hasn't got anyone else to fight. I think Ortiz is in a slightly different situation when it comes down to that, because the PBC have got such a monopoly on the welterweight division. So Buatsi might get beaten by Lyndon Arthur. I don't know that he'd 100% beat Yard. And there's Johnson as well. Like, I'd like to see him beat at least some of those fighters before they take him up to world level. And I'd like to see him keep his head off the line, because he's going to get punched up otherwise.
Yeah, I can see that with Buatsi. It's a little bit of a different situation. Like, there's other fights that he could definitely take, and don't get me wrong, there's other fights that Ortiz can take too. But if Ortiz really wants to make a statement, and it seems like he does, he's been making statements already. But if he wants to make a statement that's next level,
The
that
thing
Crawford fight. Mm-hmm.
The thing is with Ortiz, he's just taken on and beaten pretty handily someone that Crawford didn't beat easily. So he's probably closer to a Crawford fight. Buatsi hasn't really done anything like that at a domestic level yet to warrant being chucked in with Bivol. So I think it is slightly different, but I don't think Ortiz is ready to beat Terence Crawford. I don't think that ends well.
Yeah, I would pick Crawford to beat him as well. But I just think in this era, a lot of fans, and I'm not saying you, John Daly, but I'm saying there's a lot of fans who do have like this whole, oh, if he's not undefeated, then he's nothing. And I think we need to really change that.
I agree with you on that front. And to be honest, I don't really have a dog in the fight with Ortiz. I don't really care if he loses or not. I'm not his biggest fan. If I was managing him, I would not think he's ready to take on Terence Crawford. But I mean, if he wants to go and challenge himself, that's fine. Similarly with Buatsi, if you have Bivol, that's fine. But personally,
John, you're breaking up badly.
Yeah, you're breaking up, and I actually got to order some food real quick, so I'm gonna go on mute for a little bit.
Yeah, so Red Glove gonna go get some tortas. John, you're breaking up bad. Log out and come back in, John. John, you're breaking up.
Don't think that. Oh, sorry.
Log out and come back in, John Daly. Right. So, who's in the chat? Toby, Fuller, Sports, Matt, Ramos, Lisa Bales just come through, Laran. All kinds of people, all kinds of celebrities in here, man. Yeah, say, John was saying, these guys need to work on their defense. And what I agree, right? The issues come where, again, in England, Buatsi's rivals are all with Frank Warren. Anthony Yard with Warren, Lyndon Arthur with Warren, and Yard and Lyndon Arthur are going to fight. Callum Johnson left Eddie Hearn to go to Warren because he said he wasn't getting the fights with Eddie Hearn. But let's not forget that Callum Johnson got his title shot under Eddie Hearn when Eddie Hearn made him fight Better Beef, and he knocked down Better Beef. Callum Johnson's a big puncher. And I still pick Callum Johnson to beat Joe Smith. But anyway, look here. So is it that Eddie Hearn is saying, look, because in the WBA rankings, if you look at the WBA rankings, there's really no one there that you care about Buatsi fighting, to be quite honest. No one. But in the domestic scene, I agree with John Dealey. On my Twitter, I posted that I would like to see Buatsi fight Craig Richards, right? But Craig is coming off a loss, and I think Craig will eventually have to fight, have to defend his British title against somebody. Eddie Hearn said that they're gonna have one more fight with Buatsi in December before they consider the Bivol fight, and Bivol is gonna fight in November. So Buatsi is gonna have like a fight in between that before he fights Bivol. I don't know who it's going to be though, but I hear what John is saying. I hear what Red Glove is saying. As I said, this conversation is about how y'all see it, because if we keep up the conversation that they're not ready, they might never be ready.
Yeah.
Right? Because some people just have things about them that they never really fix, but that's just them, right? I do think Buatsi has issues, and I think Bivol would capitalize, because Bivol is a volume puncher guy. He punched like 3-punch combos and backs out, right? Terence Crawford also. If you're there to be hit, Terence Crawford is going to hit you. But the question is, how long do we wait, right? Because if Buatsi don't have I don't think Frank Warren is going to allow his guys to go to Matchroom to fight. I don't think so. So who does Buatsi fight in the meantime, right? So, Red Glove, you there? You done order your
Yeah, I already ordered my food.
Plantains and
what I was gonna say is Buatsi, he needs to, whatever he does, it needs to be a step up. If he's not ready for, the Bivol fight yet, which I could definitely agree with, he shouldn't be fighting another one of these lower level guys. Like, it needs to be a step up from this guy that he just fought. I forget his name,
Bolotniks.
but what was it?
Bolotniks.
Yeah, Bolotniks. I hope I said that right. It needs to be something. It needs to be somebody who is a step up from him. If he's fighting the same level of competition, then yeah, he's never going to be ready.
Right. I think one of the issues is I think Eddie also wants to do something with Bivol, because Bivol might be getting impatient. Like, he wants something big. That's why, as I said, he kept volunteering to go down to fight Callum Smith, go down to fight Canelo, because I guess for him, he wants something big. What's his name just said, I think Ziggy Zane just said, I think Bivol has the best resume. I agree. I think for me, I think Dimitri Bivol is the number one in the division at 175. I don't think Arthur Beterbiev is better than Dimitri Bivol. I don't care what nobody say, right? But I think
the thing is, that's the fight that everyone wants, because that'll answer all the questions. Bivol Beterbiev. Bivol Beterbiev's the best.
Yeah, but Frank Warren isn't even unifying with Beterbiev and Joe Smith. So I don't even know what they're doing over there.
So you mean Bob? You mean Bob?
Yeah, Bob. They're not even unifying with him and Joe Smith. So I don't even know what they're doing. Beterbiev fought Adam Dennis in Russia, and no one knew. So
I think that might be because Beterbiev's been out of the ring for so long with injuries.
Yeah, he's very inactive.
He probably blocked fighting Joe Smith Jr. at the moment, because he needed a fight in between. That's probably why no one knows about that fight, because he might not have looked very good. He broke his ribs. He broke his ribs, and then he had like 18 months out on top of that, didn't he, or something?
I don't know, but the question is, then if you're a Bivol, what do you do? Because there's really no one else for you to fight. Like, you just kind of sit around and fight who? Because Bivol has beaten all the B-level guys. He's already beaten them people, right? You're not going to get the Joe Smith fight again.
Has he not got a mandatory? Has he not got a mandatory for a ticket?
No, the WBA ain't got no mandatories.
He's been out of the ring a heck of a long time himself, hasn't he? When's
he beat Craig Richards when? He beat Craig Richards.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, he beat Craig Richards recently. Sorry, I forgot about
that. But then it's like the WBA has a paltry 175 division. Paltry. Like, number one is a guy called Robin Krasnicki. Who cares? Right? So I think Bivol might be pressuring Eddie for something big, and he got to figure something out for him because there's no unification available. There's no other opponent available that you care about, and you don't know what's happening. So Terence Crawford also, he has to make up his mind. What's happening with the Sean Porter fight? Haven't heard nothing about that, right? I mean, Josh Taylor is gonna fight Catterall for his mandatory. So I know you have Virgil Ortiz calling on Terence Crawford, and Terence Crawford is saying, Virgil Ortiz is not ready. So what the hell is going on? If these two guys step up and they lose the fights, they're young enough that they can come again. Right? I think Buatsi has some shit to work out because exactly how he fights is perfect for Dimitri Bivol. But that's also the case for Virgil Ortiz. So these two prospects are in fact perfect for their champions. But the champions are also good for them because Bivol didn't look great against Craig Richards. And Terence Crawford didn't look great either against who? I mean, he stopped the guys, but didn't really look great. But then I also want to compare again how these two guys are being pushed compared to certain other young prospects. You have big, not even young prospects, you have big established veterans turning away from title shots. You have young prospects also turning away from title shots. But you have these two guys who don't seem to be turning away. So should we discourage them?
No, we shouldn't.
You have people like Michael Hunter who had a mandatory right in front of him, and he said no. Ryan Garcia, mandatory, no. Jojo Diaz possibly has a mandatory, and he's also kind of waffling. So what should we do about these two? We have Virgil Ortiz and Joshua Buatsi. Should we then discourage them from fighting the champions if they have a chance? Or should we encourage it? Y'all tell me. I mean, it's kind of a funny situation. What should we do?
I think it's a case-by-case basis because, like, with Buatsi, it is different. Like, I do think with his lack of defense and, being pretty unproven, he hasn't stepped up as much as Ortiz has. Ortiz has stepped up considerably more than Buatsi. So I think for him, he probably should take a couple fights. But he needs to make sure that they're step ups. Like he can't be fighting the same level of competition because or else he'll never be ready. Ortiz, I say he's ready. I don't think he'll beat Bud, but a loss shouldn't end your career, so I think he should be, I think he's ready to test himself further. And, who knows? I would give him a 45% chance to beat Bud. I see that as a 55, 45, or maybe, a 60-40, but, I don't think if he loses the Bud, he should act like a lot of these other guys do and disappear for a little while.
A lot of people didn't give Craig Richards no chance to beat Dimitri Bivol either, and he looked damn good against Dimitri Bivol. He looked damn good.
Yeah. Right? And that's the other thing. Like, it's possible to look good while losing and look bad while winning.
Yep. Because if after that Craig Richards fight, people were talking about Craig Richards more than Dimitri Bivol. People were just saying, man, Craig Richards looked good. If he had started fighting earlier, whatever. And Craig Richards said, I wasn't confident. I didn't feel like I belonged there. I wasn't confident in my abilities until he realized the fight kept going and he was doing good and he started feeling more confident. He started catching Bivol more, right?
Yeah.
But Craig Richards has fought at a higher level domestically and more consistently than Joshua Buatsi. Joshua Buatsi's career has been very herky-jerky, kind of start, stop. And that's why I was telling people, like, I'm not quite sure who Joshua Buatsi really is. I don't know if he's world level. I don't know if he's domestic level. I don't know what he is. But we saw Anthony Yarde fight Kovalev. And we saw Anthony Yarde, you know, he was inexperienced, but he didn't really disgrace himself like that. He had a terrible corner, but he went in there against Kovalev and he tried. And he tried. He didn't back away from the fight. The fight was offered to him, and he fought Kovalev. So are we going to tell Joshua Buatsi not to fight Dimitri Bivol when his rival Anthony Yarde fought Kovalev? Virgil Ortiz, young man, right? Again, people saying he's not ready. But what would you have Virgil Ortiz do next? Who does Golden Boy have for Virgil Ortiz to fight that you care about? Who do you care about? All the other 147 pounders are with PBC. There ain't a whole lot of 147 guys out there that you want Virgil Ortiz to fight. Like if he fights somebody next week that is below Kavliauskas, y'all gonna complain.
Yeah, because I mean that's pretty much all he can do is like, and Bud too. Like, what, they're gonna rematch some of these guys they already beat? That's not a good look when you stop all these guys. We don't want to see you just stop them again. So yeah, I would rather them fight each other.
Black says, I think we need to encourage the contenders. Not enough fighters stepping up, definitely. Mountain Ramos says, if he loses to Bud, it will probably make him better like it did against Canelo. Exactly. But I'm seeing far too many people like saying like, oh, Virgil Ortiz, he ain't perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody gonna ever be perfect. Terence Crawford ain't no perfect fighter. He ain't no perfect fighter. Terence Crawford gets caught too. If goddamn Kell Brook was a bit of a healthier guy, he would have gave Bud Crawford hell because he was boxing Terence Crawford early on. Kavliauskas, same thing. Gave him a rough fight. I think he dropped him. If I remember the fight. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway. But it's like people are saying Virgil ain't this and Virgil ain't that. But I mean, we need to decide what we really want as boxing fans. Prospects are not shying away from the champions in their division. They're not getting to number one or number two and then doing a U-turn and backing out when it's time to fight the champ. We've seen grown men like Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, and all these other PBC dudes, when it was time to fight Terence Crawford and they had the opportunity to do so, they all backed up. They backed up. And people who are so-called boxing hardcores was like, yeah, man, good for them. Don't fight, Bud. Don't fight, Bud. Yeah. Yeah. You're encouraging that shit. Red Glove said he got to go eat. I think he has some tostadas or whatever people eat in Florida. People were backing up these older dudes who were backing out from Bud Crawford and saying, yeah, man, Keith shouldn't fight Bud. Yeah, what's the point? So we got to decide what we really want in boxing. We want to see these fights or we don't want to see these fights. Black says Ortiz is ready for Bud, even though I believe he'll get stopped like the rest, but I'll never discourage the content of it. Exactly. Somebody has to tell me, what do we want as boxing fans? Virgil Ortiz is heading directly for Bud Crawford. That man said, I'll fight Bud Crawford, I'll fight Errol Spence, I'll fight Manny Pacquiao, I'll fight whoever. Just give me a chance. That man said, give me a chance. How come nobody tried to discourage Canelo from fighting from fighting Floyd Mayweather? Did people try to discourage him too? And he went and he fought Floyd and he lost. He got washed up. He wasn't ready for that fight, but he went in there and said, no, I'm not backing up from this dude. I'm gonna fight this man. He got washed. But look at Canelo today. We have to consider that these young men might not want to be held back. They might not want to wait no longer. So what do we want? Do we want to continue to complain that Bud Crawford ain't fighting nobody? Do we want to complain that Dimitri Bivol ain't fighting nobody? Because, well, we can't say about Bivol. Bivol has fought quite a few people. But I honestly want to say that as boxing fans, we have to really consider, look at what these two are trying to do compared to these other so-called prospects who are so-called stars and they're so great and all that they would do and could do. But they ain't fighting no good champions. They're fighting for Reggie belts and interim belts and all this shit. Joshua Buatsi ain't gonna have no easy road at 175. Joshua Buatsi ain't gonna have no easy road at 175. Every single one of them 175 champions. All these dudes is tough guys. Joe Smith might be quote unquote the easiest, but Joe Smith can in fact knock Joshua Buatsi out, and he can knock out most people. Arthur Beterbiev, we know, can knock anybody out, and Bivol can pretty much outbox anybody. So there's no route Joshua Buatsi can take that's going to be easy for him. Well, that's just me. I mean, there's quite a few ways you can look at it, and we aren't really. D. Hodges says, I don't understand. But Bud beat many champions. You got to be good. You got to be good to be a champ. I mean, I'm just curious, bro. I'm just curious. Like, how do you know you can be a champ if you don't try? And I'm not here to tell anybody they're wrong when they tell me that Virgil is not ready or Buatsi is not ready. These dudes have glaring flaws. Glaring flaws. Everybody can see it. Both of these dudes have the same issue. They're defensively irresponsible. Defensively irresponsible. But that might be just who these guys are. And it might take 5 more fights to get that out of them. But in that 5 fights, what happens to those belts? Is Dimitri Bivol going to still be around? Who's going to have the belt by that time? Or is Buatsi supposed to wait around? How old is Joshua Buatsi? Let me pull it up. Joshua Buatsi is 28 years old. He's 28 years old. Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is 23. So Joshua Buatsi is almost 30 years old. Virgil is a very young man still, 23. So does the age matter? Maybe Joshua don't want to wait around no more. If he's 28, he wants to try his hand now and see what happens. Or should Joshua Buatsi hold on for a second, do a 2, 3, 4 more fights, and see what happens? But Dimitri Bivol is not going to be around much longer. Maybe Dimitri Bivol gets pissed off at Eddie Hearn and goes somewhere else. Goes over to Bob Arum. And then Buatsi loses the opportunity to have a direct line to a belt. Virgil Ortiz, 23 years old. He could wait around a bit more. But who do you care to see Virgil Ortiz fight other than Terence Crawford if that fight's available to him? We can't have it both ways. We can't complain when fights don't happen. And then when fights can happen, we say, nah, man, nah, they ain't ready. They ain't never gonna be ready. What's that, Lisa Bales? What's up?
Yeah, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah, all right. How you there going?
I'm going. Everything's good. Everything's good. It's not too hot today. I'm just trying to do a few things before I go out later. You know. So the topic is the fights over the weekend, right?
Yeah. So we're talking about the fact that the two prospects are being lined up for the champions in their sanctioning bodies. Virgil Ortiz being lined up for Terence Crawford, Joshua Buatsi being lined up for Dimitri Bivol. Yeah. And we're talking about the pros and cons, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, both young men don't have a lot of fights, really. You have two champions who are well established, but yeah. So we're wondering, like, is it people saying it's too soon, or should we encourage the young men by telling them, go ahead, try your hand and see what happens? What do we do?
I mean, well, in order to become, in order to try to strive for greatness, you got to step into the fire. So, it's not going to be, boxing's not easy. So you're going to have some hard fights, if Virgil Ortiz or his handlers feel that he's ready, then, I still would prefer the Bud Crawford fight with Sean Porter.
But we expect that fight to be next. I mean, I don't think that fight's gonna happen. As far as I know, the Sean Porter fight is ordered by the WBO, so that has to be next.
Yeah, just because it has to be don't mean it's gonna go to purse bid from what I'm hearing. I'm not sure.
Well, somebody will bid on that fight. I mean, shit. Yeah. Somebody will bid.
That don't mean you got to take it though.
Who?
Sean Porter.
You don't think Sean Porter's gonna take that fight?
I'm not saying. I'm saying that doesn't. I'm not saying that he isn't. Just because it's ordered, don't mean that they have to take it. That's what I'm saying.
True. That's true.
I'm not wishing no, negativity. I'm just saying. I don't know where Sean is going because he was commentating on the Olympics because I saw him. He was commentating for the what's the kid's name? Keyshawn Davis. That fight.
Yeah.
For the finals when he was going for the gold. So Sean was commentating there. He's doing like commentating for Freddie Roach's shows. So, I don't know where Sean is at. He got the podcast, I know he still fights, but me personally, I'm real sick of the only welterweight, not the new guys. I want to see Bud do his thing, but I'm getting real sick of them welterweights. I'm tired of them. They should have moved up. Not Bud, because Bud hasn't been a welter that long. And I know, they like for Sean and Keith and them, they've been there a long time. You would think that they outgrew that division by now. You know how hard it is for them to make that weight? I'm sure they're not in their 20s. They're not Virgil Ortiz's age. They're up in their 30s. It's gonna be harder to make that weight now. You know what I'm saying? These are grown men, full grown men.
So why do you think they're still hanging around?
The money, the welterweight division is more money than super welterweight.
But
That's I
wouldn't them going to super welterweight give super welterweight that star power and bring the money there?
You have to be like somebody like Floyd or somebody like that, you know, or Pacquiao or somebody like that. That the super welterweight division is not an old division, but it's never been a big money division. The big
Right,
money
right.
divisions was always welterweight and heavyweight and stuff like that. Those are the glamour divisions, you know. So they probably make more money down there. Because you remember Sean Porter fought at like 160 something in the amateurs. He's a big dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it takes a lot for them to come down to that weight, and and you know your metabolism in your 30s is not going to be the same as it was when you were in your 20s, you know. So it's
So
going to be
so
hard.
basically you're saying them dudes should really have moved up and stop clogging the damn division if they're not gonna fight.
That's what I feel. I mean, well, you know, Sean. I mean, well, Sean is for. I think Sean is for everybody pretty much except for Bud, for the most part, and the younger guys. Spence, he's fought. He just hasn't fought Bud and Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman hasn't fought Bud and him. You know, so it's like those guys are like people getting tired of them. People want to see the they want to mix that division up. They want to see the younger guys, you know. Or I still want to see Bud coming to his greatness because he's already great to me as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And I know Spence and all of them are, you know, they all are in their own way, but you know, but I know Spence, Charlo is at 154, so you know, I just see Spence going up. So I know it's hard for him to make that weight. It's gotta be.
So what does somebody like Virgil Ortiz do? Do you think Virgil Ortiz should hold on and not like if he has the chance to fight Terence Crawford, don't fight, because you see people in the chat saying that he should fight Boots Ennis before he
I
fights
mean,
Crawford.
that would be nice. That would be the ideal thing, but these the way boxing is now, they ain't doing it like that. They want to marinate and you know they marinate and stuff to the point where you know how milk expires.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's curdled now. You know,
Yeah.
you done marinated in it, and you know, like those guys it could be a nice trilogy or whatever. But you know, it would be sensible for them to fight, but boxing is different, you know, now.
Boxing don't work like that.
Well, it used to. You got two great contenders, you know, that are good, you know, and they have different styles, but you know, they've been on that same trajectory as far as you know, these two are gonna be the guys in the future, you know.
Yeah.
Conor Ben is like up under them, you
Yeah.
know.
Did you see the buatsi fight?
I have to. I was busy Saturday. I was at home, so I have to catch it on the replay. I did.
Okay.
The only one that I saw was the Virgil and uh Ejevis Ejevis Kavialakis. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Close enough.
Yeah. And then I saw the Rigandal and Casemiro fight. I saw that.
Well, I haven't seen that fight, but I heard like people were like really down on that fight. How was that fight?
Me personally, Rigo nullified a lot of Casemiro's work. Um, Casemiro was more of the aggressor, come forward, but he, like in the first round, he did something that he could have got expelled, not expelled, but what's the word?
Disqualified?
Yeah, disqualified, not expelled. Oh my God, my mind is all over the place. Yeah, thinking about school. Yeah, he Regendale didn't engage enough, and he didn't throw enough punches. Neither one of them threw a lot of punches, to be honest with you. But Regendale's defense, man, his legs are still good. You know, he was avoiding a lot of shots. The guy was throwing, he was missing. You know, I don't know. It's like and the sad part about it was people was booing from round 2 to 12. It was just nothing but boos. It was sad to see that. It was really sad.
I see Rigandao. He replied to somebody about the fight, and he said, let me see what he said. Let me make sure I put it in there. He was saying like he accepts the critique and he did overmove. He was trying to prove that he still had his legs,
Yeah.
but he might have overdone it. So he was trying to prove a point that because people were saying he don't have his legs no more or whatever. So I guess he said like he was trying to prove that I guess he was a better boxer and he was, he had his legs still. But I guess he just overdid it.
That's fine. You can have your legs, but a lot of people said he was running. At points he was, but it was like he was moving like in what do you call it when a fighter moves around like a circle? He was moving laterally, and basically when he was backed up in that corner, at times he got hit, but he got out. But the guy couldn't really close the distance off. Rigo's a tricky fighter. Rigo's not an easy fighter to fight, but it wasn't like Rigo. Normally, Rigo tries to slow the pace down and fight like he does. Rigo fights like a Olympic style fight or amateur on the point system, but it may not work well far as like in the pros, if you know what I mean. But he's aesthetically beautiful to watch as a boxer, but their styles just didn't mix well. And but the thing is that the punch output was so low. They said that it was lower than a heavyweight fight, the output.
Wow.
And that's 118. And from what I heard, I don't know if it's true. They said that Casemiro rehydrated up to 140. That's big for 118 rehydrating that much. So I don't know.
Damn.
I gotta look it up. Yeah, if that's true. But that's what I heard. But yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
But like I said, the punch output was so low. Yeah.
That's poor.
But Regendale's fights, he doesn't. Regendale is an economical puncher. He's just not going to waste punches. That's his style of fighting. It was for, like they said, with with Floyd and Pacquiao. I guess it was for Casemiro. Like he was like, "Come on and fight," like that. But you have to break that. Like he didn't. The game plan, I guess, wasn't too great. I guess he thought Rigo was gonna stand in front of him like Rock'em Sock'em Robot and let him. But Rigo is not that type of fighter. He's defensive.
You seeing my screen?
Yeah.
Well, either it's Rigo typing this or somebody typing this for Rigo. He says, "I'm not making no excuses for anything. I was expecting a guy ready to blow my chin away and sent me to retirement. But I am not a picture on a bag. I can actually box. I learned before becoming a champ back in Cuba." So,
right.
Yeah. So Rigo is basically saying this guy was supposed to stop me. This guy was supposed to have knocked me out, and he couldn't do that.
This is true. Rigo was clowning him, But at the same point, it was the detriment of him. What he should have done was counted more. He could have just been jabbing. He's back with Ronnie Shields now. He could have been Ronnie was telling him what to do, stand in the middle of the ring, you know, shoot your left out, you know, because Rigo's left is like a sniper, you know, that straight left. You know, he could have just been just throwing more. Even if he just threw 20 punches around, he would have won. And that's low for a bantamweight.
Rigo said, "Congratulations to the Filipino fans. You have a great champion. His name is Pacquiao."
Oh wow!
Who's typing this? Who's typing for Guillermo Rigondeaux, man?
Somebody put him. That's shade. Oh wow, that's shade.
He ain't
wow.
typing this, man. Who typed this?
I don't know. Somebody. Yeah, but Rigo talk a lot of trash though. In his language, yeah, he talk a whole lot of trash. Yeah.
Does he?
But yeah, Rigo's a trash talker. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, but like I said, you know, it's just his style. It was like when he was on HBO, they didn't like him. They didn't like his style, and then when he beat Nonito Donaire, they really hated that. You know, so it's like his style. They say it's not fan friendly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fans want you to throw a lot of punches.
Like. Yeah, depends on what you like. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Bronze Plumber says, "Can't call it a robbery when he did nothing. I'd have preferred they both lost." Ooh.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's sad, man. Yeah, I wanted to see better, but you know, hey, I mean, not that it, you know, like I wanted to see more punches thrown.
Anywho. Hey, Lisa Bales, I'm gonna have to get back to work.
Okay.
Hey, thank you for coming on, my Ayaba. Hey, that's my Ayaba, Lisa Bales, the queen of this shit. Anything you want to say, Lisa?
Oba, that's my Oba, yeah.
And anything you want to say? Anything you want to sign off with?
Oh man, thanks for having me, Iron Cone. Oba, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Honor and privilege.
You don't want to tell nobody in the chat to shut up or nothing like that? No, never mind.
Nah. I'm chilling. I'm just chilling. I think people say silly stuff. After a while, after you hear it every day, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
You know?
I got
enough
you.
is enough.
You. But hey, thank y'all for coming on in the chat. Appreciate y'all, staying with me on my lunch hour. I'm gonna go back to work now. But the question is, again, I'm gonna come back another time. Buatsi and Virgil Ortiz, should we be encouraging these young men to go directly for the champions, which they seem to want to do? Should we ask them to hold back a little bit? What should we be asking these young people? Because we keep saying we want people to be great, but then we see other prospects here turning away from title shots when they have the opportunity. But we have two guys who are heading directly for the champions. Buatsi says, and Buatsi wants Bivol, Ortiz wants Crawford. They're not backing away. Both of these guys have glaring weaknesses, glaring issues, but maybe that's just who they are. Well,
we don't know. We don't know how anybody's gonna, when you're in the trenches, it's how you come out. You got to dig deep.
Exactly.
You come out and you never know. You throw them out to the wolves. Sometimes you got to throw the baby in the bathwater to see if the baby can swim.
That's right. So that's how it goes, man. Hey, peace to y'all for coming through. Appreciate y'all giving me y'all time, man. Thank y'all. Goodbye. Have a good day. Take care of yourself.
All right. Peace.